Hey, this is Jacob from Fundable. I want to show you how you can use a Claude skill to run personalized outbound to companies right after there is a funding round. We're going to leverage this Google Sheet where we send over all of our deal alerts, and we are going to set up this skill so that it runs on a recurring basis. So every morning at like 10:30, it will draft replies or outreach for you to send, and all you have to do is kind of review, then press send. So to get started, we want to upload the skill file, and we are going to say, hey, let's run this interview. It's going to take a moment to read the skill because there's a lot of content in there, but don't worry, it's just reading. Cool. So it's going to start by asking some questions about your background. For this specific kind of example, I'm going to say that I am in tenant rep. And then it's going to ask me my email provider. This is because Claude can directly pretty much send drafts to Gmail. So I already have my connection set up. So I'm just going to press Gmail here. So the next thing, it's going to ask me some details about myself. So the first thing is kind of what tone you want to display when you're doing this outbound. I kind of like to say, yeah, crisp and business-like. What should the opener lead with? I think we can do something about their momentum, leveraging kind of the context in the company. Okay, so the next thing asked is the Google Sheet. So I'm going to copy over this Google Sheet, put this right here, and then ask my background. Okay, so what cities do I cover? Cover the broader NYC area. Notable tenant deal or two. So I could say I helped OpenAI with their 10,000 square foot lease in Soho and have worked with Polymarket since seed stage. What else is it asking? Any VC firms, let's say I'm friends with people at A16Z and Thrive. And this is honestly the most important step. As much detail as you can provide here, the better the outbound will be. And then just one thing to note as well, if you don't have it already, make sure you have a connector to Google Drive. All you need to do here is press add a connector, and this will just enable it to actually read the Google Sheet. Since I've added this after I've added this information, I can send it over. Great. So now it's actually read the Google Sheet and wants to figure out which companies we should draft outreach for. Just for this example, let's just focus on one. So I'm going to say, let's just do Octozi. And the whole point of this part is to figure out the right type of outbound. And we're going to kind of work on the tone. In the future, it will write kind of a message for every single company that raises. Great. So now it is writing a couple drafts for Octozi. Actually, I think it gave me a couple options. So let's see what it wrote. And we're reaching out to Amit, the CEO. So here it says, Amit raising a seed to expand the team in New York tends to turn office space into a real question fast. I'm a tenant rep here and have worked with startups like Polymarket since their seed days. Space climbs their list this year. I can share why kind of that can be helpful. And then it outlines all the context that I used. So it sources kind of the investors, which articles it pulled from. To be honest, I don't really love that outbound. It's not that personal. This one, Amit, the jump from seed to a growing New York team is usually where the current space stops fitting. To be honest, I don't really love this outbound. It doesn't really feel that personalized. So I'm going to ask kind of the skill to go deeper here. Let's go a bit deeper on company context, like what they do and how it resonates. Okay, so now it's taking another pass at this. And it kind of mentions what Octozi actually does. It says that they build AI that automates grunt work for clinical trials. So let's see this new option it presents. It says, Amit, growing a clinical data team in New York usually raises the space question earlier than the seed company expects. A human-in-the-loop product means hiring reviewers and specialists, not just engineers, and that kind of team wants real, secure space sooner. I'm tenant rep, and I've worked with startups like Polymarket since their seed days. When it surfaces, I can share what comparable teams are selling for. No rush. I like this outbound a lot more. Kind of mentions the problem Octozi is about to face. It also mentions why me in particular is a good fit because I've worked with companies that are grown like crazy from the early days. So I can say, love C. Let's make future outbound like this, combining personal plus company context. Okay, so after we tell it how we like the writing, it's going to actually formulate the skill itself that you're going to use in your day-to-day process, not the interview. Okay, so down here, it's going to ask the question, skill creator is available, want me to bake the skill. You need to say, please bake the skill. This is very important, the only way the process runs. After it does all of this, then you can go press download skill or update skill. Okay, now that we have kind of downloaded the skill, we can go to customize, and then we want to go and make sure the skill is there. So here, Fundable outbound Siri baked. Let me just copy down the name of this. And then to actually schedule the skill so it runs on a recurring basis, I'm going to scheduled. I'm going to press new task, set manually. We'll call it startup outreach, reaching out to startups post raise. And all I say, run /, then copy paste the name of the skill. It'll show that it knows what you're talking about. Then we want to set frequency to weekdays, and let's make sure this is after we receive the daily funding update. So let's do it at 11:15 a.m. and press save. Now it's scheduled to run. Just to make sure it works correctly, I'm going to go ahead and do run now. Okay, so now we can see the couple of drafts that it wrote. The first one is Octozi. We already went through that one, so let's see how it does on net new stuff. Here, quiz security, we're talking to Udi, the chief people officer. His email here. It says Udi, hiring sales engineers and a product team this quickly right after the seed usually puts pressure on space before a company expects it. Security business selling to banks and critical infra also needs a credible secured office those buyers take seriously. I'm in tenant rep, worked with Polymarkets and C-Days. When it becomes a priority, kind of reach out. Then it provides all the context that we use to write that draft, the LinkedIn of Qs, the TechCrunch articles, and so you can kind of update the message based on how you see fit. And what I did here is I say, okay, I like draft 2. I've connected my Gmail through a connector. I can just press add connector if I want it. And then I can say, let's send it as a Gmail draft. If I go here, I can go to my Gmail, and I see the draft is ready to go.